man.
All right.
Hey, Project Nerd fans, this is Kerry coming to you live from the Colorado Springs Comic-Con here in Colorado Springs. And I'm not lying this time, I got someone that I have begged for all weekend long, and we're going to find out why here in just a second. But over here on the couch with us, we've got Graham Nolan, who's going to tell us all about all the stuff that he's done, all the stuff that he's famous for, and we're going to start doing some interviews. So, Graham, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's been a great show.
Has it?
Very busy. Lots of people here.
Lots
a lot
of people.
Fun. Yeah.
So we're going to get right into it. I don't got you for a long time, but for our audience members who may not know what you're mostly known for in this community, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're here and what you're kind of talking through this weekend?
Sure. I'm a writer and artist that does comic books. Been around for about 35 years doing it, but I'm mostly known for my run on Batman and the design and co-creation of the villain Bane.
Oh, my God. That's amazing. So you co-created Bane? Is that how you say it?
Yep, with Chuck Dixon.
And I think that's awesome, but we're not going to talk about that, are we? We're going to talk about Buffalo Bills
Go
football.
Bills!
Go Bills! I'm sitting here. This man, I ran into him last night walking out. And for those of you that don't know, which is probably everybody in our audience, the Bills are playing the Lions.
Right.
But Bills fans don't care that it's preseason. We watch every game. So we're sitting there. I'm yelling at him across what's the score. So that's kind of what started this. But what do you think? I mean, we've had a few preseason games, right? What are you thinking the season's looking like so far?
I'm liking what I'm seeing. I think the defense is rock solid. Offense, we need a little work. The line looks good, but I'm not exactly completely sold on Josh just yet.
Right.
I think he's going to be awesome. I really do. But in the preseason, he hasn't really stepped that up yet.
He gives you some flashes like he did last year, right?
Yeah,
but then he kind of he's still a sophomore, right?
Yeah, he's an amazing athlete, and I think he's going to come around. But I want to start seeing that.
Yeah. So I think what's interesting for me, I grew up in Lackawanna. For those that you don't know, it's South Towns. People that are in the Western New York area understand it. But how did you get involved in Buffalo Bills football? What's the story behind that?
I moved there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my wife is from the area.
Okay.
So that's what brought me to Western New York.
So are you there now?
I live in East Aurora.
Oh, my goodness. East Aurora, some of us know West Seneca, East Aurora, East and West.
You
go
right
down
up
that
against
road.
each other, yeah.
So do you have, can you tell us, your local bar? Because everybody in Buffalo has, a local bar, or is that too much information?
I got a bunch of local bars.
Do?
Everything in East Aurora is a local bar because you can walk to all of them.
Right.
I mean, if you do a pub crawl and you start on Olean and you go to the next street, Riley, you'll be toasted before you get to the next street.
Now, are you a blue or a blue light guy?
A blue light.
Blue light?
These days,
I figured you completely throw me off and be like, I'm a Genesee guy. No old school Jenny cream ale, none of that?
No Jenny cream ale, no.
No? But so did you meet your wife out there, or where did you meet your wife at?
I met Julie in Florida, actually.
Okay.
I'm from Florida.
Gotcha.
And I was down there for a high school graduation of my sister. Her sister was going to FIT, Florida Institute of Technology. We met at a nightclub.
Really?
Yeah. Met at a nightclub, dated for 3 months. We're married in 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've been together 34 years.
And so, because you travel, you go everywhere. Why do you stay in East Aurora? To me, it's always, everybody that's in that community has their own reason. Yeah. But I think a lot of it is kind of tied to it. But I'm sure you could live in Florida, you could live anywhere. Why stay in East Aurora?
I love Western New York. I love the seasons. I love the people, and I love the food. The food is amazing.
So are you a Duff's guy, or are you an Anchor Bar?
Duff's.
Right? Everybody that I've talked to, I don't understand how Anchor Bar has this stigma attached to it. I think it's mostly tourists. Exactly, right?
Yeah.
You walk through the Buffalo Niagara Airport, Anchor Bar's there.
And it's a franchise, not the real deal.
Yeah. But are you a big Ted's guy, like Ted's hot dogs?
Oh, yeah, I like Ted's. But I grew up on Long Island, too, so I'm actually a Nathan's guy.
All right.
Yeah, I love the Ted's, but nothing beats
But you're not a Salem's guy. You can't do Salem's, or are you
That is Salem's.
Is it?
Yeah, Ted's uses Salem's.
Ted uses Salem's, but you said you're like a Nathan's guy.
Yeah, I'm a Nathan's guy.
So your barbecue that you put on, you got blue light, but you got Nathan's hot dogs, not Salem's on the grill?
No, I got them both.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends on how I'm feeling.
To me, as long as you have everything else accompanying it, right? You got all the different stuff. But I'm so fascinated by it. But we'll get back to the Bills, right? So do you go to the games a lot? Do you go to the games?
I don't. I'm a baseball guy, and I love live baseball.
Okay.
I don't love live football as much because it's hard to see,
Right.
you know, what's going on in the act. If they're down at the other end of the field, you're watching it on TV anyway.
Right.
I might as
Yeah.
well be in the comfort of my home with my fridge and my bathroom.
So I'm assuming you have an amazing man cave then. Because if you're going to watch them at home, you probably got like a great little selection to choose from,
Well,
or
my
you
whole
just like
family,
recline-
my whole family are Bills fans. So the living room is the Bills.
But you say family, you inherited this.
Yes.
Yeah. So were you
But
a
my
Bills fan
daughters,
before?
no.
No.
When I lived in Long Island, I was a Jets fan.
Okay.
When I moved to Florida, I was a Cowboys fan.
Come on, man.
Because I hated Miami.
But now,
I got to get props for that
there
because
you
I
go.
hated
Yes,
Miami.
Yeah. But now it's okay. For those of you, it's okay. He's a Bills fan.
I've been a Bills fan
Yeah.
now since 1987.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you went through the good years.
Probably longer than you've been alive.
I'm 82. I watched all four.
All right, so you were five.
I am a Four Falls kid, you know.
right.
But in Lackawanna, man, we Bethlehem Park. We talked about that a little bit before, but I think it's interesting how the direction of the team is going, and I think we talked a little bit about the players.
Mm-hmm.
My big thing is McDermott and Brandon Beane in the front office.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think McDermott is the one that's going to get it done?
I do. I really like him. We've had some really bad front office for a long time, and
Right.
and they made a lot of changes, bringing Bean in and McDermott, and I think McDermott's a guy you'll play for. Players
Right.
will play for. He's a former collegiate athlete, a wrestler. So he knows sports. He knows how to, I think, to talk to athletes.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he gets, we as Bills fans know respect the process.
Right.
I've heard all these cliche taglines so many times, but I feel like that's the one that fits best, right? Is that everybody buys into this idea, but the people that don't know, the city is what you buy into.
Mm-hmm.
The people are what you buy into. I still remember 2 years ago when they made the playoffs. And I don't know if you watched that video of the players getting off in a snowstorm and all the people just chanting and screaming and all of that. I think it's amazing. But I got to get you out of here. But I want to kind of get a couple of
We got more time.
We got more time?
Yeah,
Even better.
yeah.
I love this.
Yeah.
This is so much fun.
This is fun.
But
hey, I was at a Bills game where they were playing Miami. This is, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. And you'll know the game when I start talking about it because the Bills were down.
Right.
And it started to snow. And it just started gently, and people were like, oh, yeah. And it was like, it really started to open up. I mean, it was a Buffalo, lake effect snow. It was coming down so hard, we couldn't even see the other sideline. And they started playing Dean Martin, Let It Snow, on the big screen and everything. And everybody, it was like a rallying cry, started standing up and screaming. Miami didn't know what to do. The Bills came back and won the game.
Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing.
But see, this is you bring it up like this is what kills me about being a fan. I loved the way they scheduled games before, right? You had the horrible game in Miami and right at the beginning of fall when it was 100 degrees.
Right.
But then they had to come into Buffalo in late December.
December, yeah.
Right, so you had the alternating. It was an AFC East opponent.
Yeah.
What do you think? We talked a little bit off camera. I want to capture it. What do you think about the way they're scheduling these games now? Do you think that it's really setting certain teams up for success, or do you even pay attention to this schedule?
I don't even pay attention. No.
You're just like, we're going to win no matter what, so it doesn't matter?
I don't even know who they're playing next week.
Really?
I just know they're playing. And,
Yeah.
That's all I care about.
I love it. So we go back. You were talking about how your daughter's now, huge, because I assume she was raised in East
Three of
Aurora,
them.
right?
All three.
All three?
Yeah.
When you talk about this like family thing, is this like a big family event every Sunday? This is like Sunday at 1 o'clock. Everybody's at your place, or do you kind of alternate?
Well, my kids were in college and they've been away, but actually I got two of them that have moved back. They're in Cheektowaga now, and they just last week it happened. So this will be the first season as adults. They're back in town, and we've already talked about how we're going to go to their place on Sundays, and they'll come to ours. We'll alternate back and forth.
Yeah.
And we'll do the whole 9 yards. We got I got a piece of the original turf that's set up in a like a football thing. And we got a little stuffed buffalo.
Okay.
And then we also have a stuffed a dolphin, and every time we play them, we stick it in our dog's mouth and make him tear it up.
I absolutely love it. I think that's what's fun. I mean, being a Bills fan all my life, growing up on it when they were good, now they're bad. I'm actually similar. I married a Buffalo Bills fan. I would joke with people. I'm like, I can only find a wife for 16 weeks out of the year. Because if she's not a Bills fan, she's never going to get me.
Right.
The people that are from there and that wear this with like a badge.
Yeah.
This little chip on their shoulder. I love it. And I feel like what the Pagulias are doing for the city, I think, is more important than the teams themselves. You're there. Do you see the influence the Pagulias have on the city?
Yeah, since they came in, they also own the Sabres,
Right.
too. That whole region where the stadium is, or the arena is,
Yeah.
and the canal side. I don't know if you've been back there in a few years,
I have.
but the canal side area is hopping now.
I was just telling
beautiful.
someone about Riverworks the other day.
Riverworks. Yeah, that's another
I
place.
mean, you know what's great is when you can have a beer and smell Honey Nut Cheerios being made right next door.
My city smells like Cheerios.
Yeah, it's one of the coolest things. But I love the history behind it, too. You know, I talk to people about Buffalo, the people that kind of get onto the sports thing.
Yeah.
But I grew up with the Central Terminal being like a foundation, right?
Right.
And you're kind of – so how long have you been in Buffalo, in East Aurora?
Well,
You said like mid-'80s or –
I moved to Western New York, ended up buying a house in Cheektowaga in '89, but I moved here in '87.
Okay.
And I moved to East Aurora in '93.
Okay.
So
you've
I've
been
been here since '87.
And you've been in some great cities. You know, our fans that are in Buffalo, which I think is just my cousins and a few of my friends, understand like these are some interesting cities. You know, Cheektowaga, East Aurora. You know, did you ever spend any time in like the South towns or anything like that, or like Blaisdell, Hamburg, that kind of area?
Well,
or?
they're all connected. They're
Yeah.
all interconnected. You drive through them to get anywhere.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I think that's what's fun. So
Yeah.
I loved it. You know, I grew up. You know, maybe you remember like used to be Dock of the Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had
like,
a boat back then. I used to pull up there.
Did you?
Yeah.
Because I figured like I didn't know if you were like a Hamburg Beach guy or if you were a Mickey Ratz kind of guy. You know, like.
I'm an ocean guy because
Okay,
I grew
so
up on the beach.
You
so.
went out. You're like, okay, cool. I had my slip here and then I left, kind of thing. Yeah. I love it. So I'm gonna go more in depth, right? So I'm gonna kind of fire stuff at you. Who's your favorite, maybe current or prior Buffalo Bills player?
I have to say Jim Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a quarterbacks guy? So you talked a little
Not
bit about Josh Allen,
but Kelly, even off the field,
Right.
You know, when he came to Buffalo, he was a brash, young guy. Didn't
Yeah.
want to come here. He played in the USFL.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to come here. But
Nope.
that folded, and he came, and he fell in love with Buffalo. Buffalo fell in love with him, and he's just carried himself with such dignity, with a lot of the issues that he's gone through
Right.
with his son and his cancer, and I think he's just a real heroic individual. So I got to go with Jim Kelly.
Well, I think what's interesting is the people
And he's
that,
the biggest fan too. He's at
Yeah.
every game, and he's on the sidelines, and he's up there cheering, getting everybody cheered
But he's
and
brought
riled
everybody
up.
back too, right? I think that's what's interesting is what I think about that story, right? So he was drafted by the Buffalo Bills, the former owner Ralph Wilson.
Right.
He was drafted, did the whole thing. I'm not going to come play. Went to Houston, and the USFL developed the K gun there, brought it back. But what I thought was the most interesting is when he needed the city most, the city rallied around him.
Yes.
And showed him what it's like to be respected by the city, right? If you buy into the city, you have them for life.
And by the city, it's really a region.
Right.
It's not just the city of Buffalo. Buffalo is just a phrase that defines the region
Right.
of Western New York.
Yeah, it's a great way to put it, right? And even Canada, I didn't know how. Well, let me ask you, what did you think of that Toronto series? I know we're going back a little ways, when all that stuff was
I
going
was
down.
furious.
Right.
We only have so many games. The taxpayers of Western New York pay
Yeah.
for the subsidies.
Right.
And then they're taking money out of our pocket, and it's playing in Canada, and proceeds are going there, and,
Right.
and sales of concessions and all that's going to.
I never
was
understood
terrible.
that. Like that, I get where they were going from an economic and financial standpoint of trying, but like you already had those fans, right? You already had those Toronto people,
Yeah.
and
they
have,
can't support a football
right.
team.
And then when they did all that, and when the Pagulias came in, as a fan, that was one of the most traumatic times, I feel like. And yes, I do say traumatic. If you're a sports fan like I am, the possibility of losing the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo
Yeah.
and all that history, and I think it's an amazing history.
Yeah.
The fact that Ralph Wilson gave money to allow for the Dolphins to be in Miami, to them to have a team, and you start looking at it. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong with this. I'm going to try to make sure that I'm right. One thing that I've always said, and I'm sure we've got our multiple audience members that can correct me, but what I thought was interesting when I studied some of the stuff is Ralph Wilson Jr., I believe is his official thing, he was the first to do naming rights for a stadium. So Rich Stadium was the first, Rich Farms, I think, they were the first to ever get naming rights for a professional sports stadium.
Is that right?
I believe so. We'll check it, but I believe that was the case. And that's what led to now with like Gillette and all these crazy things. But I think it's awesome. And I don't want to keep you too long. I mean, I'd love to. But
We're still good.
We're still good. All right, this is awesome.
I'll drop this mic when I
Awesome. Yeah, you just make, okay, I'm out.
Right.
But I think it was crazy. So you talked a little bit. So Jim Kelly, obviously being your long time, who do you look at now on the current roster as kind of being that foundational like team member or foundational player that we need to keep on that team to be successful?
I don't know. I don't really have an answer to that yet because I don't know who's going to step into that role.
Yeah. So you think it's still kind of?
I think it's still in flux.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm hoping it'll be Josh Allen.
Right.
I'm hoping he'll have developed those leadership skills the way Kelly did to bring people together, to be the peacemaker or to be the ass kicker. And say, hey, pick it up.
Like start and finish with the quarterback. Like the man responsible for that huddle needs to be that leader for everybody.
Yeah. Well, Kent Hull was like that too. He was another one who was instrumental in keeping.
Well, we've had such great centers, right? Like before, I think one of the most disappointing things for me a couple years ago was hearing about Eric Wood.
Yeah.
Losing a longtime center, drafted by the Buffalo Bills, married and stayed in Buffalo, and still is in Buffalo, losing the person that really I think the quarterback relies on the most. I think it was what was difficult, especially going into a season where you're going to get a new quarterback, right? And I think what was exciting for me at the beginning of the year was learning about Mitch Morse, coming, because I'm like, this is a longtime center of the Chiefs. He brings a lot of experience, that veteran
Is he
experience.
the guy that had all the concussions?
Yeah.
And
we gave him so much money, and he's
Yeah.
already gone, right?
I know.
And it's one of those where, like you were saying at the beginning of the season, I was so happy with free agency because all I'm yelling about all offseason, build the line. I don't want Antonio Brown. I don't want any of these like flashy players. I want the 400-pound linemen, and I want 20 of them.
Yeah.
Pay them all.
Well,
Let's put them on
They
there.
want Allen to be a pocket thrower.
Right.
But his natural instinct is to run because the guy's got wheels.
Yeah.
But he's got to, if he's going to stay in the NFL and not get killed, he's got to have a pocket that won't collapse around him so that he could use his height and use that arm and make those plays. The same way Brady does. Brady's got no wheels.
Right.
Kelly really didn't have wheels.
Yeah, but this is the era of that mobile quarterback. But the reason why is because you're not building an offensive line.
Yeah, and we've had that problem since the Kelly era.
I remember the J.P. Lossman era, right, when it was the first mobile quarterback, right, and then you had all of these other players that came in. Then obviously Tyrod Taylor being mobile. Like the only reason I love the Michael Vick era, and I thought that he did a lot of great things for the NFL. But it's not the benchmark. It's not the playbook now. It's not the blueprint of how you win games, right?
It's also not sustainable because once the line discovers you're a runner,
right?
You're talking about maybe a 230-pound quarterback, 50-pound at best, and 300-pound guys that can run a 440,
right?
Smashing into them,
I worry about that piece of it. And I think it's a great point. If you have a veteran that allows you to build the foundation, you have Josh Allen to still developing. But I love what he's trying to do. I think that's the big thing for me.
Yeah.
I see what he's trying to do. But I think what you said a moment ago about building and trusting and understanding, I think that's what I'm a little bit worried about. You see all these things coming out in the news but I wonder if the players are actually rallied behind him yet. I'm waiting for that one moment. I still remember we're in Colorado, so I remember the Tim Tebow era here in Denver.
Okay.
And when Tim Tebow went and won that postseason game, the players bought in. I'm waiting for that moment where Josh Allen, last year was when he jumped over the Vikings, linebacker.
Right.
And we're but I'm sitting there as a fan. I'm like, okay, you did it. I appreciate it. I love it.
That was really exciting.
Don't do that again.
But you're killing me.
I'm not that coach on the sideline. No.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that worked, but don't do that again.
Don't do that ever again.
But so, are you excited for the upcoming season?
I'm very excited about this season.
Do you think we have a shot at this?
For me, to win it, no.
Well, I mean, to as Bills fans, we're not even talking Super Bowl, right? We're saying we're not even talking AFC East.
Right.
I think we start with.
I think we'll make the playoffs.
You do think so?
I do think so.
Wild card or AFC East division, or do you even go that far? Or are you like me? I don't care how they get in. I just want them in.
We got in last year with 9 wins.
Right.
Okay, so for me, moving forward, I want to see 10 wins this year.
Okay. Yeah.
know.
And I think with the schedule, it is possible.
Yeah.
With having an early bye, I think you can easily go in, 4-2 or 5-1 based on the schedule. If you get that, you get a couple weeks off, recover a little bit, and you get
fix injuries.
But see, my thing, and I don't know how you feel, my thing is still Dabble. Is Brian Dabble, the offensive coordinator.
Oh.
You talk about Josh Allen, like I'm waiting for it. For me, it's the offensive coordinator, right? Because I want to go back. We have 4 running backs that all could easily start anywhere else, right? You got Shady, you got LaShawn McCoy, you've got Frank Gore that looked great last night, right?
Good.
You got the fumble-happy T.J. Yeldon. You got Devin Singletary, who we drafted, and then this amazing kid out of England that we don't even consider a running back, right, as a potential.
Yeah.
You have 5
former rugby player,
first touch as an NFL player.
Makes a touchdown.
Which is but to me, like, the people that don't follow Buffalo anything, that I kind of expected that. It's like this little, like, oh yeah, he ran it his first time. Like, it's such a moral kind of thing. This moral victory I get used to as being a Bills fan.
But who he reminded me of when in that game, and then he had some nice plays in the second preseason game too. He reminded me of Kenny Davis.
Oh yeah.
The head down power runner. Whereas like Thurman
North
was
and
a
south
finesse
kind of guy.
Yeah. Thurman was juke and all that kind of stuff. And this guy was like, boom, just a power, big thigh guy.
Right.
If he does well, maybe him and Shady, and they can work things out.
Do you think they're going to keep Shady? Are you buying into all this trade stuff or all these different things to save salary cap, or do you think Shady day one starter for the Jets game? Or are you still like? Do you even like follow? You're like, I'm still a couple of weeks removed. Like when, I follow it. Like I'm one of those like Buffalo Rumbles kind of guy. Bills Mafia. Like, so I'm like, I like Shady.
Yeah.
I didn't agree with the trade because I love Kiko Alonso.
Yeah.
I love a middle linebacker. You said it at the beginning.
I liked him, and then I saw him playing in Miami, and the guy's a dirtball.
Yeah. And people forget, people like that know, like Bill. Thurman Thomas went to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Right? Bruce Smith went to the Redskins.
At the very end of their careers, yeah.
At the very end. And I'm like, well, now as an adult, I'm like, oh, yeah, they want to make money. I'm cool with it. They came back to Buffalo, right? But I sit there and I go back and forth. Like, I really enjoy Kiko Alonso. But I think that what you said at the beginning is what I wish they would be more known for, which is their defense. Second-ranked defense all of last year, right? End of the last year, they were second-ranked defense and only got stronger when they picked Ed Oliver. At first, I was upset because I'm like, everybody knows to trade out, right? You're in that 9th, 10th pick. You're probably not going to get a first-day starter unless you're going offensive line. But when they picked up Ed Oliver, I was like, oh, my goodness. You got Harrison Phillips, Ed Oliver. Then you've got all these different veterans. And then, we got Jerry Hughes coming from whichever angle he wants you at, right? And then you've got 3 linebackers that I think are all-stars, right? You got Milano that's coming back off an injury. My favorite draft pick of last year, Tremaine Edmonds. And then, by the way, we've got this amazing Lorenzo Alexander, the ageless Lorenzo Alexander.
Right.
And then for safeties, we have
Future Hall of Famer.
2 Pro Bowlers, Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer. Like, to me, I love Josh Allen. I love the name. I can't wait to see what he does, and I love all these different people that are running. But I want Jordan Poyer to have 10 interceptions, right? I want a bunch of sacks from either 99 or 91 coming out of the back. I want that old school. I just watched the Ray Lewis kind of stuff, right? And Ed Reed going into the Hall of Fame. Like, I want the old Baltimore-style defense. And then, hey, don't turn the ball over on offense, and we're going to be a great team.
Keep our offense on the field. Give them opportunities and wear down their defense.
Yeah.
Get them tired.
I can't wait because the AFC East, to me, and maybe it's – okay, I am biased. But I don't think the Jets got any better, right? I don't think Sam Darnold is what they're saying. And Miami just decided they're not going to play football again. Like, you know what, we're going to let this person go. Okay, cool, we're going to bring in Josh Rosen. And he can't even – I don't know what Fitzpatrick has done to sell his soul to somehow be like, you know what, I'm just going to always be a starter wherever I go, even though my whole history is I'll get you like 4 amazing wins, and then I'm going to lose
and then I'm out.
all of it.
Yeah.
But I think they have a shot, obviously. And I'll ask this question. I know I'm rambling, but my favorite question, me and my wife do this all the time. I want to beat the Patriots with Tom Brady in his prime.
Yes.
I don't want to wait.
Well, he isn't in his prime, though.
Well, I'll take right now.
All right. So
right.
the real statement is, I want to beat Tom Brady now.
I think people are like, well, Tom Brady's on the end of his career. I'm like, no. I don't want to wait until the next line of Patriots rebuilding.
Yeah.
I want to beat him now with Belichick, with Brady, coming off a Super Bowl win, right? I want that win. I don't want this whole asterisk.
More than to see Belichick after they've lost a game.
Oh, my God.
Watching him walk across a field.
Having to do that shake,
Having
right?
to do that
Having
shake.
to do it.
And he smells like he's in a toilet somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's got that face like something stinks on this
Yeah.
field.
It's like you wait all year just to be like, I don't care.
And
he's
he's
going to shake my hand.
Perfunctory thing, and he's already off.
I think my favorite was when they kind of do like that thing of they bring him in like, no, you're gonna come in. You're gonna come into mine. No, you gotta respect that we beat you.
Yeah.
I think that's what ultimately, as a Bills fan and as more importantly as a Buffalo fan, I think that's what I'm excited for. Is I think this could potentially, the way it's building up.
Yeah.
I think that could ultimately be maybe. I'm still that little like I'm still skeptical.
Yeah.
I think any Bills fan, you're like, I want to buy in.
I want to.
But I think it's your point, right?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in preseason.
Yeah.
And I really haven't seen it all throughout the offseason to kind of get me rallied around it yet. Is that kind of how you feel, or are you just like, no? Like, I have these skepticisms.
There's one. It's a puzzle, and there's one piece missing right now. Before there was multiple pieces.
Right.
There's only one piece missing that we don't know for sure, and that is Josh Allen. He's the big question mark.
Yeah.
Will he perform the way we're expecting him to, or will he keep making the same rookie mistakes?
Yeah.
Has he learned? Has he grown? That's the stuff. That's going to be the tail of the tape right there.
I wish that he had that veteran presence behind him.
Yeah.
I
He's
go back.
still really young though. But
and with Matt Barkley being his backup, right? I really don't. Oh, they're giving us a sign. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And by the way, he's a Lions fan, so keep that in mind as he's doing that. Yeah.
Wait a minute. They lost yesterday.
They did lose yesterday, and I believe they're the greatest player on the team. Might have tore his MCL. No. He tore it.
Two people got torn.
Oh, okay. He's fine. But Graham, for those of you that aren't listening, there's nothing else going on because nothing besides the Buffalo Bills matter at this point. But Graham, I can't tell you how appreciative I am that you came and sat with me.
My pleasure.
You honestly made my convention. I come to a lot of these, and I don't understand the cosplay. I don't understand kind of anything that's going on. But I saw your hat, and the fact that you still
you came running over to me like a kid in a candy shop. You were so excited, and then he shows me his tattoo.
I know.
Too.
Yeah.
He's got a Buffalo Bills tattoo.
I got a Buffalo
on his
Bills
arm.
tattoo.
Yeah.
For those of you that know me, I show it everywhere. But the fact that you come
It's
to
on
these
his
things,
ass, and he whips his pants down.
But underneath it is like it's the Calvin and Hobbes one. It's him peeing on the AFC East.
There you go.
But I'm so happy because as a Buffalo fan, as a Buffalo kid, I wear it with pride. I wear it anywhere that I go. But the fact that you're willing to come out here amongst all of these people who want to talk Batman and everything else and represent the Bills with a Bills hat on is one of the coolest things that I could have possibly seen.
Love my Western New York. I love my Bills, and it's a great place. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but I got two funny stories about Western New York. One, I was down at a wedding in Atlanta, and I was walking out of the hotel, my wife and I, and we're going through the parking lot, and this guy is coming into the hotel. He's got his bags. He's dragging it behind him. The guy is just browbeaten. His head is down. It looks like he's been traveling all day. He's wearing a Sabres hat. So I walk by him, and I go, "Go Sabres!" And he goes, "Oh, yeah, go Sabres!" Yeah. Goes into the hotel all jazzed up and everything. It's like a rallying cry for anybody because there's Buffalonians. There's been flight from Buffalo for years.
Go Sabres.
See, go Sabres.
Go Sabres. I don't think that we have to. Everybody just heard that. That was clearly not. And I promise you, that was not solicited.
By and he just screams
that
out,
wasn't
"Go
even
Sabres."
solicited.
That's my
moment,
point.
right?
That's my point. And another thing is Mark Russell, the political commentator, is from Buffalo.
Right.
And he told a story one time about he was like in Marrakesh at an outdoor cafe, and he's talking about how everybody knows who everybody is there because it's all this spy network. All this, there's this guy from Russia. There's this guy from Turkey. There's and they're all undercover, all this kind of shit. And he's sitting there amongst all these people, and all of a sudden he hears, "Go Bills!" There was a woman there with her husband from Buffalo, saw him, knew he was from Buffalo, and yells across the cafe, "Go
Yeah.
Bills!" You know, she didn't have to interrupt him or go up and talk to him. Just said, and he looks, "Go Bills!"
Go Bills. I think you captured it. I mean, for those of you that don't get it, and I hope you still listen to us, and I hope this inspires you with any team that you root for. But the fact that you hear these things, you can only understand it if you're a Buffalo fan.
Yeah.
Because it's not a team, it's a family.
Yeah, and
I
they're
think that
all over.
It's one of those. It's the shared 4-year Super Bowl run, right?
Yeah.
It's the shared.
The losses.
But it's also those horrible winters
Yeah.
that you live through in the January through May, I think, a
Yeah.
lot of the times. But what you come out of your house for when it finally that sun peeks through the clouds is St. John Fisher's and training camp. And then you
Yeah.
sit there and you go. I still call it Rich Stadium.
Yeah, me
I
too.
get that it's the Ralph. I love that New Era did it. For those that don't know, New Era is a Buffalo company. So the fact that everything about this team is Buffalo.
Yeah, it's all local.
It's stamped everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think
Terry Pagula.
Pagulia, he married a Buffalo girl,
Yep.
right? Or they're from Western Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
But the fact that he understood that he had to have this team,
Yeah.
and people that know the
And had
amount
to
that he
keep it
paid
there.
for, but the amount that he paid, I hope that he understands that we will do anything to give him back all of his money, to know that on Sundays for 8 weeks out of the year, not 7 anymore, 8 weeks they're in Buffalo, not 1 in Toronto, but the fact that 8 weeks out of the year we get to put on our jerseys, right? We get to put on, mine are the Deuces. I will rep Fred Jackson till the day that I die.
Ah.
I wore him in my wedding. My wife and me got married in matching Buffalo Bills jerseys, but I will do it until they stop letting me talk. And even when I'm not talking, I will wear it. I will wear it with pride no matter where I go. But Graham, I greatly appreciate this. Has
It's my
definitely
pleasure.
been a highlight, not only
Yeah.
of this con, but honestly, like we were just talking about, I'm going to go home and tell my wife, and it's going to be a story that we're going to share, and I really
Awesome.
appreciate you taking the time. But I'm also going to give you an opportunity. You've let me plug everything. Is there anything that you need to plug to make sure people see you or get to your content anywhere?
Well, yeah, I have a project up on Indiegogo. It's called Return to Monster Island. If you guys would just check that out, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, well, now you've got all of Buffalo behind you. If you guys don't do this, then, well, no, I'm not going to say you're going to do this because you're going to support not
Yeah.
even a Buffalo product, an inherited Buffalo product that reps you out here in Colorado Springs Comic-Con. So, again, guys, for me, I hope that you got a chance to hear this. I hope that you enjoyed some of it. But this is Kerry signing out. Day 2, Colorado Springs Comic-Con. Stay tuned to Project Nerd. Oh, lastly, I'm going to redo this. We're going to edit it. Okay, how about we do that?
That's fine.
Yeah, we're going to live stream, but I got you. All right. Again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Kerry from Colorado Springs Comic-Con, sponsored by Pop-Up Lockers. Again, all my Buffalo people, you're going to hear this. For any of you guys that need any of the lockers at your conventions coming up, reach out to Pop-Up Lockers. Until next time, we'll see you soon.
Well done.